Good morning, all. Let me move one more thing over. They say, got it? Yep. Okay, welcome everybody. This is Joelyn from WonHeart, and I'm so happy to be here this morning. It's been a little while, and I'm going to be talking with a dear friend I met just recently under weird circumstances. I injured myself, and we had a delightful talk as she helped me through this process. And I ended up learning so much about her that I really just want to share what she does. And really, it comes down to Reiki healing. I've heard of it. I don't know much about it, and I hope you don't, because we're going to learn about it today. She also uses it in trauma healing, and I'd so like to welcome Rachel Frauenholz. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did, Joelyn. Thank you.
Well, welcome, Rachel. My goodness, your background. You have worked with Cynthia Fales in alternative healing and intuitive healing in 2002. You became a Reiki Master in 2008. And what I love about you is that you have a passion for serving the war veterans who suffer from PTSD. That's really big right now. It's not just the war veterans coming out of everything this last 3 years. There's just a lot of trauma and a lot of fear for people. So I'm excited to talk about what you do in that in your protocol. But let's get back to the meat and bones today. Welcome today. And Rachel, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with Reiki.
Well, I've been interested in alternative healings and folk medicine. My grandmothers always had poultices and little remedies for bee stings and things like that. So I grew up around women that were healers. And I was on a trip to the East Coast with my daughter, who was a Marine, career Marine. And that's how I got interested in PTSD. She has PTSD, suffers from PTSD. And so I have an affinity for, when you're given a gift, I think you need to give back to the world. So I chose the Veterans with PTSD to be my group that I treat for free and to help them. And so I was in Washington, D.C. to go to a dog show with my daughter, and we left the Pentagon area and headed north, got to a certain turnaround. I got a phone call from my mother saying my youngest daughter was on life support back here in California. So we flipped a U at this certain intersection on the freeway, and Rebecca dropped me off at the airport, and I flew out. And on that plane, I was in the last row, the last seat, and the lady next to me had just bought the second to the last seat. She happened to live a block from that place we turned around in Maryland to come back. And she was on her way to Sedona to take an advanced Reiki class. And she told me, your daughter's not going to die, but it's not going to come out the way that you expect it to be. So, and that's exactly what happened. She came out of it after 11 days on life support, went back to her destructive ways, but she's still alive, and she's since recovered from her alcohol addiction and is doing well. And so that made me want to find out about Reiki. So when I went back to visit my daughter again on the East Coast, we went and took a Reiki treatment. And I go, this is what I've been looking for. I'd been looking for a modality, had tried several different things, and they just didn't fit. But Reiki was the method for me. And since then, I've been practicing and attuning other people, teaching about Reiki. And it's been life-changing. It really has.
Well, I was watching something, kind of getting a little information the other day, and this one woman said anybody can do it. And
absolutely.
Can you explain in easy terms, I guess, because there's probably a lot that you learned, but what are you doing? Yeah, just go.
Okay. Reiki is a Japanese word, and it works with the chi in your body. Dr. Usui was the founder of it, and he studied the sutras and found this hands-on healing. And many people relate it to the hands-on healing that Jesus Christ taught his Essene followers who heal people. So, and every tradition has a component of hands-on healing. I call it praying with my hands. So you focus the energy from the God of your knowing to come through your crown chakra into your heart, fill it up with love, and then pass it out through your hands to the client. And Reiki has a knowing of its own. It goes where it's needed, so you're not directing it. And it's a way of balancing the chakra system. The chakra system and the Western medicine endocrine system are components of each other. So as you balance the different chakras, you're balancing the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, the thymus, the ovaries, and all of the different pituitary glands in your body, which then secrete hormones that make you feel better, that make your body function the way it's supposed to and bring it back into balance.
Well, here's my question is, do you touch the people actually in this process, or is it?
It can be hands-on or hands-off. I always ask the client, some people that have had traumatic physical injuries or situations don't want to be touched. So you can broadcast Reiki across the room. Cats will come up and lay on my feet and soak Reiki out of my feet, and things. So, and you can send it distance healing. There's advanced Reiki, or at the Reiki Master level, you can send across the world or wherever. It's nice to have a photo of the person. You always, to be in integrity, you always get permission before you treat anyone. But it doesn't have to be touching, but it can be.
Wow. So my other question that I'm just curious about, it leads me to believe that when I did take an animal communication class at one time, the idea is to just stop all your thoughts, especially about, in your case, healing, wanting to heal somebody. You don't really put those thoughts into it, right?
Right.
A clean, clear mind, which is probably the hardest part. Is that what you're doing to prepare yourself for the healing?
That's similar. To prepare before I start, I say a prayer to the God of the knowing of my client, because I have treated people from different religions. And you are just basically a hollow bone. You're transmitting the energy from the universe, the God force, whatever you want to call it, into the client. And the client heals themselves with that energy.
That's the key. They heal
Yes.
themselves.
Exactly. And with Reiki, there are symbols and words that we're in a vibrational universe. Everything has a vibration and a frequency. Colors have different frequencies. Different crystals have different frequencies. The symbols in Reiki and the words have a different frequency. Choku-rei is the first symbol that you learn, and it says, put all the energy of the universe right here, right now. And then there's a mental, Seihiki for mental healing, and Honanze Shonen for distance healing. And Daikomyo covers all three of those. So when I give Reiki, I'm constantly repeating those 4 words as I'm placing my hands on different body parts or above the body. I'm just repeating those words and sending that vibration into the client's body.
It almost feels like that keeps you centered
Yes.
in this moment now, kind of a thing.
Yeah, you stay grounded while you're doing it. Exactly. And that's part of one of the aspects of the Reiki. You treat the head first and work your way to the feet, and then you ground the client into the earth, the center of the earth, to ground them. And so staying grounded is important always.
Can you share a story or two of anything?
Oh, let's see. I've had people call me and say, Reiki, or Rachel, my granddaughter was rushed to the hospital and they don't know what's wrong with her, but that she's going to die. And I got, I just centered myself and I felt this sensation right here in my forehead. And I told the lady, she was the president of our Lions Club, I says, have them look behind her right eye in the forehead area. And they found a tumor that they hadn't been able to find before that. I've had a couple of stroke clients that I've worked on, that it takes another special protocol where you have a Reiki person at the crossed wrists, the crossed ankles, and one person on the head. So you have all three people doing it at the same time. And so you start out this way, and then you uncross and go the other way with both the hands and the feet, and do like 20 minutes on each place. And the stroke client says they could feel energy going from one side of their brain to the other, back and forth, all these lights going back and forth. And he had aphasia on one side of his face and drug his leg and stuff. We got up off the table. That was all gone. It was a miracle, and I give all that credit to the powers that out there that are doing the healing.
Yeah, and that energy is ongoing and vibrating all the time. So being able to tap into it, I guess, shouldn't be a problem if you're open and receptive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing with Reiki, the premise of Reiki, and the Bible talks about, in the beginning there was the word, and things are passed by the breath. In Reiki, the power of the healing is passed from Dr. Usui down the lineage through the breath, in an attunement that happens after you've trained and taken the classes. So I would caution people about taking Reiki classes online. You're not going to get the breath of Dr. Usui down in this generation. I think everyone has abilities to heal at certain levels, but to get the full Reiki message, go to a practitioner that teaches and is in the line of Dr. Usui. And if they don't know their lineage all the way back to Dr. Usui, they're probably an offshoot of something that hasn't got the complete training. So that's one warning that I would give people, to be sure that you find someone that knows their lineage.
Do you have to believe in this? Is that a component? Let's say you've got someone on the table and clearly maybe they were dragged there by their significant other or something, I don't know. Does that have a big part in it, to believe on the table? I don't know.
I don't believe it does. I think when you're doing the universe's work or God's work, whatever you choose to call it, that it has a component of its own that's outside of you. Like it says, we're just a transmitter of the energy. And I've drugged people to my table, my daughter in particularly, and she says, Mom, I don't know what the heck this is, but you got something going on, And I go to, in the early years, I would go to fairs, where they have different little garden fairs or hobby fairs and that sort of thing, and put my table out, and kids would walk by, teenagers, and I'd say, I can get you high with no drugs. And they'd get on my table. I'd give them like 5 minutes on their head, and they would be loopy walking off there, go, wow, what was that? And stuff. So to me, I did things like that just to confirm that something was happening and that there was a result. And over the past 15, 20 years, I've proven to myself that there's a power out there. And it's also acknowledged by the National Institute of Health as a complementary healing modality. And they use it at MD Anderson, different cancer hospitals and things like that. In Fresno at St. Agnes Hospital, there's a panel of 6 priests that hold the Reiki space at the hospital. And when I lived in Fresno, I would go to the hospital and treat people that were hospitalized with Reiki. So it's a lot more common than people realize, even if you haven't heard of it before, but it's been around since World War II, and there's a lot of Reiki practitioners out there.
This leads me to the benefits for you, or are there any, or have you felt something during a session with someone? You said you've heard stroke victims tell you later that they felt like something was sparking on both sides of the hemisphere. In regards to yourself, do you get a little reboot of any kind, or I don't know? or do you feel it?
The energy does flow through me. What I feel is usually a little different than what the client feels. Primarily, the client will feel heat. Some people will feel cold if their polarity is reversed. When I'm putting my hands or traveling over a person's body, sometimes I feel heat or cold or bumps or like ping pong balls bouncing under my hands. I've had all kinds of different sensations that I feel. And later I ask the person, what did you feel? And get their feedback first. And then I tell them what I felt. And they said, oh yeah, I broke my knee, or I broke my leg there, or I had this injury, so the spots that I pick up on that I chart while I'm doing it are something that's been in a past injury with them, usually, or they, because I don't want to know what diseases they have or any information before I go into a treatment. So then afterwards we confirm, what I felt with what they felt to see, what's working for them.
Right, right. Well, a lot of people right now are probably going to be reaching out to other alternatives. And these are ancient alternatives that worked, and maybe they were pushed aside of sorts to make way for whatever we've got now, which seems to be not working. We are the most sickest and most ill ever before. What would you recommend to somebody when they're looking for you, and how to find possibly someone like yourself? I mean, there's got to be a lot of them, and hopefully they're not online class. You mentioned earlier, how would you know what to look for?
Well, I'm in the Central Coast in Morro Bay, California. You can just Google Reiki I have Reiki by Rachel on Facebook also. There's a lot of practitioners out there. You can contact me if you're not local. We can do distance healing or things like that as well. I also want to talk about the other modalities that I've done, because once I got into Reiki and saw all these results and proved it to myself, and studying with Cynthia Fales in the early 2000s. She was an medical intuitive, and I've studied and researched with her, and just so many amazing things that I've learned and broadened my healing scopes to. With Cynthia, I have a radionics machine, which is radio waves and electronic waves mixed together with different codes that rise to the vibration of the illness, whatever the blockage is or the illness, to that's vibration of health to help cure those things. And Cynthia worked with people, heads of state, kings, princes, common people all over the world for years, and she was healing cancer at a rate of 85%. And so it's an amazing thing. And in 1964, the AMA and Congress and the pharmaceutical companies outlawed these radionics machines because they worked and they didn't know how to tax them to make money off of them or whatever. And when I took these classes with Cynthia, I went home after that class and I told my husband, I says, this is a bunch of BS. I'm not going back there. This woman's crazy. She says, you can hook people up on this machine from across the world and heal them. And he goes, oh yeah, my mom used to take me down to Dr. So-and-so at the corner, and he had one of these machines. And my husband had polio as a child. This guy cured his polio. And I was just flabbergasted that, oh my gosh, maybe this is something. So I researched it more and more. And now I'm practicing radionics as well as tuning forks and vibrational frequencies and biofield tuning and crystal healings. I went to North Carolina in search of a crystal healer, and I took a shaman workshop back there. And since that time, at the time I was looking for a shaman. I wanted to take a shaman apprenticeship. I had 7 shaman in my life, but I just knew none of them was the shaman that I was looking for. So this crystal healer lady in North Carolina told me about Don Oscar Mira Casada. And I looked him up, came back. He was over in Zion in Utah. My friend and I went over there, and then I took his shaman apprenticeship. So I've studied all different kinds of ancient healing. And I'm 71, healthy, out playing pickleball 3 days a week and doing all kinds of wild and crazy stuff and really enjoying my life and good health, so something's working, and I wish it could work for everyone.
Yeah, these modalities out there are incredible. And that's why I like interviewing people such as yourself, because maybe there's people out there that just don't know not anything about it. Yes, I know you have different, well, I'm a musician, so I'm totally into the idea of energy and healing frequencies. Something that came up earlier, and I did want to ask you about this. Because I went to a Dr. Joe Dispenza, he talks about the energy fields and tapping into them, really the chakras. Okay. Can you go a little bit more into that? And do you use some of these modalities around those? Because I've heard that we've got 7 of them that are located in different spots, and they're color coded as well.
Yes.
But they can be going the wrong way. And I'm thinking energy must calibrate it back into, can you expand on that possibly?
What I learned from Cynthia before I even found out about Reiki.
Whoops, I lost your sound there.
Had a call come. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. The chakras rotate starting clockwise at the crown chakra, counterclockwise, clockwise, and go down the body that way. So when I work on a person on their chakras, I spin it the direction it should be spinning to balance it. If it's, if you're having sore throat or something, your throat chakra might be blocked, or if you don't speak up for yourself, those kind of things might block your throat chakra. So you work on that. You can wear, if it's a throat chakra, wear blue, the color you're wearing today. That will help you speak up, stand for yourself. It's creative, that sort of thing. And each of the colors of the chakra, if you have fear issues or survival issues, wear a lot of red. So you can treat yourself just with the colors of the chakras as well. And those are the places that you direct the energy that you're bringing through you to the body to balance those chakras and to energize them.
Wow. Yeah. I'm always curious as to how this all works. And that I'd like to be able to tap into it myself. And are you under the same belief that we can all tap into this sort of?
Absolutely. Think about it. I don't know if people can see me or just you on this, but you can mimic what I'm doing.
Let's go to just you. Hang on. Okay, there you go.
Okay, so remember, a time when you had a headache, you went like this.
Oh, yeah.
You're balancing your right and left hemispheres of your brain, and it feels good, and you feel that warmth. Or when you were a little kid and you grabbed your knee, you fell off your skateboard and skinned your knee, and you grab your knee and you hold your hand around it so no one can touch your knee, and you're giving yourself energy. That's what Reiki is all about. It's channeling energy to those different things that happen. And we do it intuitively. It's inside us, and we've just forgotten about it. I believe that's the truth.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And yes, of course I've done that. Okay. So we met over a month ago playing pickleball. My friend. And I ended up going down, spraining my ankle pretty darn hard. I remember going to your home, graciously helped me hobble to my car, and I followed you to your home, and that's where we spoke. You used a device on me as well called a chi machine. And again, what is that for the folks out there? It didn't touch me. You didn't have it touching my skin. You had it up next to my ankle. And
yeah, it gives off theta brainwaves. And so theta is the healing, the meditative state brainwave of the sleep pattern. And it's also a healing wave. So it's another frequency vibration modality. And I've back in probably 2008 or 9, I met Salo Stanley in Fresno, and she taught me tuning forks. And she had this this machine in her office. So she would put it up by your shoulder, and it would just put you in a calm trance. And then she'd come in and do tuning forks. So you're already in that healing state when she would apply the tuning forks to your body. And so I learned that modality, and the machine was designed by the national horse racing people from the Kentucky Derby and those kind of really expensive racehorses for inflammation. So they would put it on a stand in the stall with the horses that had been out running or had a sprain or something like that to get rid of the inflammation in the horses and stuff. And they have them for human grade too. Mine is one for the horses, and I like it the way it is.
So
Works.
a little more powerful. They're fairly large animals, but they do get back up. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Stumbling. I want to touch one last thing before we go, and I so appreciate you with all this information. Hopefully this will inspire people to possibly get a hold of you. But going back to, I did put on there about trauma, and I tell you, I just interviewed a woman a couple of weeks ago about the trauma within families and the children and teenagers, and that really, really gets to my heart. How can Reiki help with trauma? You said you work with PTS, so rampant in the veterans world.
Well, actually, PTSD is everyone. If you've ever been in a car accident or been assaulted or raped or anything like that, those are all traumas. Those are all PTSD. Reiki has the mental emotional component. That's the level 2 class to treat people with emotional mental issues. And it works. It really works. And you can go back in time with a person, sort of hypnotherapy type situation, where you don't make the situation disappear, but you take the energy out of it so that they can think about it without being traumatized. And that helps them to relieve, that's what happens with the war veterans that I work with that have been, exploded by a AED or something, and have massive headaches and, things, and their headaches go away and they can think about the explosion without going through that terror again and stuff. So it's a pretty amazing modality. I think Reiki is a standalone modality. Like it says, the National Institute of Health says it's a complementary, like acupuncture or chiropractic, but I believe it's a standalone healing modality.
Yeah, and a lot of times the trauma is just repeated messages or visions, like the veterans coming back from war. They're revisiting this thing over and over. So if you can get in there, I know EFT, emotional freedom technique, is very passionate about that. That's tapping. If you've ever heard of that, that works really well with trauma victims. And we've got a lot of post-traumatic stress. You're right. It does bubble up even from long ago.
Absolutely.
And it'll bubble up strangely.
EFT was one of the things that was in Cynthia Fales' class that I learned back in 2002. And it came from, I think it was David Hawkins in San Francisco area in the mid 60s is where EFT originally started. Now you have other people out there that are bringing this new thing back, but it's been around for a lot of years and it's great for emotional freedom. That's what it is, emotional freedom technique.
Oh, that's exactly what we want in this time. At this time, I say over and over, turn off your TV because that's a bunch of baloney, and get out in nature and visit your Reiki master for sure. Where can they find you? I'm going to post below where they can find you, but are you out there? Are you available?
I am. I suggest that they text me to the phone number that you'll give them. I don't answer my phone because I get so many junk phone calls, frauds, salespeople, that if you're not in my phone list, I won't pick up. So just text me that you're interested and I'll give you a call back.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, not only helping me 8-9 weeks ago, but I just, again, meeting you. It's been such a delight knowing all about you. And I really want to just thank you again for taking your time today. I know you've got some bocce ball or something going too. You are an active person. There's no doubt about it. Any last thoughts?
Well, I had an aha moment this morning, and I'd like to share that. It's been 20 years or plus since I met Cynthia, and she taught me dowsing. And dowsing is a way, people think that you have to be psychic to find out things, but you have a team of guides, angels, whatever you choose to call them around you, and the universal mind that you can tap into with dowsing. Or dowsing is an old world term back with poultices and that sort of thing, but water witching, muscle testing, that's all a subset of kinesiology. But learning to douse, you can ask the energies around you questions and trust yourself. You know, when I hiked the PCT trail when I was 61 years old, and I said, I'm going to listen to my body. I'm going to listen to my body. And that was the aha I got this morning. Cynthia was teaching me to listen to my body through the dowsing. And so now I douse everything, what you eat, what you buy at the grocery store, all those things. Listen to the subtle energies that surround you that are there for your highest and greatest good. So learn to douse, listen to your body, let all the radical BS that's flying around in the world now go, and listen to your body. You know, you're the person that can heal yourself. You're the person that knows the most about who you are, and what you need. So start listening to yourself and your guides and angels.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love that. Yes. More paying attention to the intuition. It has guided us through our whole lives. And I don't think we really understand that it's been doing it this whole time. Well, thank you again. And I just want to recommend to anybody that if you're looking for some help in healing, there's a variety of videos on WonHeart TV on the YouTube channel. And you can go to oneheartinfo.org, of course, and see all the videos. We've got them in categories from the mind, the body, the heart, children, and the planet. It's our job, all of us, to take hold of our health. And if we start with ourselves, it's like that spark in the world. We can ignite it and get healthy as a world at this point. I would also like to invite any of you this Saturday, if you're in the Central Coast area, I'm meeting under the pier at 7:00 in the morning for Walk for the World. This is through Dr. Joe Dispenza, Walk for the World. It's a walking meditation, and there are over, as I last heard, 80,000 plus joining us all around the world. So join us on Saturday morning at 6:45 underneath the Pismo Beach Pier. And again, Rachel, my hat off to you. Thank you so much. I'm so delighted to meet you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right.